Should you buy a CDJ 2000 Nexus in 2026? Because right now something very interesting is happening on the used market. CDJ 2000 Nexus prices are getting really low, like surprisingly low. We're talking roughly 1800 to sometimes 1200 Canadian dollars for one CDJ. And sometimes you'll see pairs or even full setup with DJM selling for the same price and sometimes less than the price of two CDJ 2000 Nexus 2, or about like $5,000 Canadian. So the real question is not, is the Nexus outdated? The real question is it one of the best value DJ purchase you can make right now? Because despite its age, the CDJ 2000 Nexus is still a good choice. It can show up in clubs, festivals, rental companies, weird basements with great sound systems, you name it. So today I want to explain why the CDJ 2000 Nexus is still an amazing buy in 2026, who it's actually for, and who should absolutely not buy one. I'm Veldema, and yes, this is another video where I try to save you money. Let's dive in. The first thing you need to understand is availability. The CDJ 2000 Nexus is everywhere in the world, and I mean everywhere, literally everywhere. If you play anywhere else other than your studio, if you travel, if you play abroad, if you do random gigs where you don't really know what gear you'll find, chances are very, very high that you'll land in front of a Pioneer or an Alpha Theta CDJ, which means something very important. If you land on a CDJ 2000 Nexus, you will not be lost when you encounter a CDJ 3000, a 3000X, or whatever Alpha Theta decides to release next. The layout, the logic, the muscle memory, it's all mostly here. Play, cues, loops, beatsync, browsing, link mode. If you can play on a 2000 Nexus, you can survive pretty much any Pioneer or Alpha Theta booth. That alone already makes it a very smart training tool. And you know what's also very smart? Subscribing to this channel. That's right. If you like honest gear discussion, real-world DJ advice and video that tries to save you money instead of convincing you to spend more, please consider subscribing. New people keep joining the channel recently, which is honestly amazing. So thank you all so much if you're already here, and subscribe so you won't miss the hype. Alright, back to the CDJ. Another reason the CDJ 2000 Nexus is such a good deal is build quality. These things are tanks. Heavy, yes. Bulky, also yes. But built to survive clubs, touring, spilled drinks, angry DJs, and questionable booth. And here is, to me at least, the most underrated thing about them. Spare parts are cheap. Jog wheels, buttons, screens, faders, power supplies, a lot of parts are still widely available on eBay and other marketplaces, and way cheaper than newer gear. That means if something breaks, you're not automatically crying and picking up your credit card with shaky hands. You can actually fix them. This is one of the reasons some rental companies, clubs, or even festivals still love them. Now, let's be honest for a second. Showing up with CDJs still look professional, even older CDJs. Clients, promoters, venues, they recognize them, they trust them, and I can say by experience that 99% of the people you'll encounter won't even know it's an older version. You don't say it, we don't know it. You can have the most modern portable controller in the world, for example like the XDJ AZ, but 2 or even 3 CDJ 2000 Nexus on a table still scream, this person knows what they're doing, even if that's not always true. If you're building a home studio, a teaching space, or even a rental setup, the Nexus still carries that visual credibility. And yes, it absolutely helps psychologically for you and for others. Price is where things get really interesting. Right now, you can often find CDJ 2000 Nexus units between 1200 and 1800 Canadian dollars. Sometimes even less if you're lucky. Sometimes more if they're super clean. But here is the wild part. If you find the right deals, you can buy 2 CDJ 2000 Nexus for the price of 1 CDJ 2000 Nexus 2. And sometimes you can buy an entire Nexus 1 setup, so 2-player and a mixer, for less than the price of 2 Nexus 2. And now let's zoom out. The CDJ 3000X just launched at over $4,000 before tax. In Canada, that's roughly $4,650 after tax. For that price, you could literally buy 4 CDJ 2000 Nexus if you find good deals. 4 decks, 4 channel training, 4 deck mixing at home. That's kind of insane. Well, you still need a mixer, but you get the point. Practice and skill building is where I think the Nexus really shines. Because they're cheaper, you can afford more of them. And that means you can actually train properly. 4 deck mixing, longer transition, layering, looping, managing energy, all of that become possible without spending absurd amount of money. If your goal is to get better, not just to own the newest things, the Nexus makes a ton of sense. It forces you to rely on fundamentals instead of flashy features. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. Now, are they perfect? No, not again. They're heavy, they're bulky, they take space, they're also still more expensive than something like an CDJ XZ, which I have right here, which is more versatile and offer more modern functionality in one unit. They're CDJs after all. And yes, compared to newer players, the screen feels older. The workflow is slower and you don't get all the fancy stuff. But the important thing is this: they do not limit your ability to play a great set. They just ask for a bit more flexibility from you, which is, again, not a bad thing. So who is the CDJ 2000 Nexus for in 2026? If you want to learn club standard gear, this is an amazing entry point. If you want to practice seriously at home, especially with multiple decks, it's one of the best value options out there. If you want something reliable, fixable and globally recognizable, it's really hard to beat. But if you want the lightest setup, the most features or the newest workflow, this might not be for you. And that's okay. The CDJ XZ is still amazing. And if you're interested in a video on it, please write it in the comment section below. In conclusion, the CDJ 2000 Nexus is not cheap because it's bad. It's cheap because it's old. And those are two very different things. In 2026, it might actually be one of the smartest DJ purchases you can make, if you know what you're getting into. As always, buy based on how you mix, where you play, and what you actually need, not what's just trending on the internet, and also what your wallet is willing to buy. If you've got questions, if you're looking at a deal and want my opinion, or if you just want to share the craziest listing you've seen, drop it in the comment section below. I see all of them. Thanks for watching, I'm Veldema, and remember, be creative, be inventive, and keep mixing. See ya!